Hey! It's an awesome venue, man. Did you notice? It's a great venue. It's like original, like 70s disco.
It's like, I'm sure it's like a bunch of those around here, you know. I barely got to look at it.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, whoa, okay. It's got all that like old neon and shit. You know? It's cool. I dig it. That should be fun. So, Doruk, explain Vulcan and your creative process.
Sure. It starts with Volkan playing around in the sequencer. He'll write riffs and drum beats and like bass lines or some synth parts. And he tries to like build something to work on. And when he's done with the sequencer, he'll like have like a half sort of finished song.
Yeah.
Then he will think of guitar parts, and then will come the lyrics. But for the lyrics, for lyric writing, he's mostly like he needs to finish the backing track, the guitars, everything should be kind of in a song format, almost a finished arrangement. And he will then have this demo recording in his headphones, and he'll listen to it again and again all day, and he like kind of losing himself into it, and which will bring the lyrics, which will bring the inspiration for the lyrics. Every time it's like this is his way. And when all of this is finished, we come together, we record the vocals, we record the guitars properly, and we start the production basically.
Oh, yeah.
And if I have any suggestions like new parts onto the song, or maybe changing a section, adding a section or something, I will do those, and that will bring out the finished song.
Notice that you no longer have a live bass player, and I think Idris was in the beginning a good part of composing the music, right?
No.
No, it was always just kind of
It was always Volkan.
Okay.
I mean, okay, he did some parts, like some of the bass parts he did,
Sure, okay.
but very little actually.
So how do you, well, what can you tell me creatively, like how do you guys come together? So Vulcan, which I guess you recently told me moved to Barcelona.
Yeah.
So he usually just writes out there, and then you guys get together, or how does that work?
Right, okay, I'll take it from the top.
Sure.
First it was Volkan in his bedroom writing music, right? And then he ganged up with Idris, which is back in 2006 in Bursa, another city, not Istanbul. And they were like music mates playing together, and they kind of decided to form the band and make more songs and stuff. And when I met them in 2009, they came to me with a few songs. At the time, I had a recording studio, and I was producing other indie bands in Istanbul. And I was like, straight away, like, yeah, let's do it, let's work together. I was really impressed with the music. So that's how we started. So I recorded them, finished the production, and released the album. I had a digital label as well at the time, which I'm not running anymore. So I released their music, which was the 3 songs EP, Kasvetli Kutlama. And 2010, I think, we released it. And it sort of got some attention, that digital EP. And we kept on working with new songs, and meanwhile we started playing in Istanbul. I joined the band on the stage as well. I was doing electronic drums. So it was drums, bass, guitar and vocal kind of formation. And in 2012 we released the first LP, Belirdi Gece, from Fabrika Records, and that really got us the attention.
Yeah.
Like that album really, it went around. People spoke about it and stuff.
Yeah, I think that had a lot of major singles festivals, at least in Los Angeles scene. I know that album in itself is really big.
Yeah, well, that's around the time we started getting offers from abroad. I mean, our Istanbul gigs were not selling out. They were like only friends. Nobody was really interested.
Yeah.
Still not interested, by the way,
Yeah.
because
Amazing.
of our countries, because of our culture,
Sure.
whatever. And after 2012, we got some recognition, and that just grew up in time, and which led to us like playing the biggest festivals in Europe for this scene.
Awesome.
And yeah, I mean, almost straight away, like in 2013, we were playing festivals. So it
That's
kind of
awesome.
happened instantly. Yeah, that's like the short history.
Okay, that's great. I personally wanted to hear that. Oh, speaking of culturally, so growing up in a mostly predominantly Muslim country, how has that affected the way that you guys have either created music and also just starting and still continuing to do the music that you do?
Well, it didn't help us, for sure. Maybe it helped us to get depressed and write these songs. But we are totally non-religious people, and we live in a 99% Islamic country because they destroyed all the minorities, all the other religious minorities. And it's a very oppressing, very how could I say? It's not open to a very conservative
Sure.
society.
Yeah.
Like they don't even listen to like any foreign music. It's like something bad. Not that they don't understand it, put that aside, but they are kind of against it.
Sure.
Like because it comes with the Islamic culture, being against everything, like being
totally.
against the Western culture, being against whatever there is in the world. Like they think they're only right themselves and they know the right way of living, and they cannot tolerate anything else. And this kind of it's a depressing situation, man. You just can't express yourself. You can't find yourself. You can't be yourself in such an environment.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it didn't help at all. Our country didn't help the music, but every other country did. Like we played every country in Europe. If we could, we would go to States. We are now in Mexico. We did a South America tour.
Yeah.
So everybody is buying, but not our guys.
It's so unfortunate because you guys are so good.
Yeah, it's their loss. What can I say? Man?
I think I went off about that just before we started talking. And so, yeah, when you were growing up, there was like one record store or something that had music that you liked when you were growing up, and that's kind of how it got out there.
Well, that's an interesting part actually. Like when we were high school kids in Istanbul and in Bursa, there were two alternative music shops in Istanbul and one in Bursa, Volkan City. And at the time, it wasn't, there was only vinyl and cassettes. So like the record shop would bring one copy of an album and then just copy it onto tapes. And so we were
make tapes and
yeah, so we were buying tapes basically. And
awesome.
that was like the only source for strange music at the time. Like the alternative, I would say. Because you can find pop music in like the big stores, but if you want something else, there is no source. Like there is no internet at the time, imagine.
Yeah, in a way it was almost similar with us here too. Like me growing up, for like the more alternative music, the pop is still in the mainstream, and that's what everybody's got.
Yeah.
And then you find out through other people, or you find underground magazines. I mean, like you guys, I would have had a God, probably in the 80s, get like Propaganda magazine. I don't know if you're familiar. It was a gothic magazine in the 80s, but I would have seen that and you guys would have been in it, and then I'd be like, oh, you know, or found it through somebody else or got a mixtape or something like that, and that's most likely how I discovered you guys, because it was kind of like that too.
Yeah.
It was like getting turned on from friends and people who knew about, you know, darker music or something like that, and that's kind of how we discovered it too. And now with the internet, of course, I mean, everybody has access to it. But you know, when I was younger, that was kind of true then. Too,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
definitely. So what do you guys have on your plate for new music?
Say again.
What do you guys have for a new album coming out?
Well, we're working on it. We sort of finished a few songs, and we have a lot of sketches and stuff. I think it will be released early next year.
Okay. Are you guys filming anything tonight? Any new stuff?
No.
All right.
They are not ready to show.
And you know, that's fine because I've never seen you guys, so I kind of, you know, want to hear all the stuff that I know anyway. So it's like, I'll hear that and be like, oh, you played that.
Yeah.
So I'm actually excited about it. What are the experiences, the reception you've had playing in Mexico? What's that like down here? Because you guys are kind of popular. How's that been?
Honestly, I think Mexico is the most fun number one, I think.
Oh, really?
We play a lot in Germany. Okay, like the dark scene, as in the numbers of population, is the largest in Germany. Okay, and we play like half of our shows in Germany.
Yeah.
And the culture is very rooted. It's established. Clubs, promoters, the audience, everything is happening there. Okay, but Mexico is almost as strong as Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not economically.
Yeah.
Like
No.
you can sell really expensive tickets,
As
but
far as-
there is demand from the audience.
Yeah.
Like how can you have like 3 sold out shows in a row in every city? It shows it's really strong. I doubt we would get this anywhere else.
Yeah. Probably it'd be, you definitely even be hard pressed in the States. I mean, maybe not so much because you guys have yet to play there, but like, I know it's kind of hard to get people to go even in like LA or in New York, you know, the more major cities. So I can see like, I know the reception just from my experience. I know the scene here is big, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
And the audience is really hot. Like they really feel and they really show their feelings as well. Like every time it's really loud with the audience.
It's funny you say that because again, like, you know, just thinking of like, say, you know, again in the States, LA, where even the smaller cities, all the cities that I've been at that have this kind of scene, it's like a lot of people are afraid to express emotion.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess they want to look cool in front of the other guys, so it's like, nobody really feels the music or dances. It's really hard.
Yeah,
I try to when I can, but a lot of people just don't do it. So it's like, you know, when you're there on stage, it's like hard pressed to tell if anybody's actually really into it or if they even understand it. You know? And they do, but you just wouldn't know it from what you see.
Yeah.
So that kind of, it must be nice to get that kind of reception here.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
I definitely would do that. You know, another question I was thinking, how do you think your music gets out there the most? I mean, obviously the internet, but would you say like Spotify or YouTube, or how do you think your music gets out there? How do you get your audience, do you think?
I think all of those.
All those things?
But obviously making a release with Fabrica Records helped us a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Because they already had a reputation for, they already started a reputation like a few years before they made our release.
Yeah.
Like they have Lebanon, Hanover, and like sort of bigger names.
Hanover as well.
So they already had something established, and this helped us a lot.
Right.
So we reached to the right audience through the right channel.
I have to admit, I actually think I learned about you guys through Lambert on Hanover. I think a radio station on Spotify, actually. I think that's how I first heard you guys. And then it came on, and then I was like, oh, you know. I think in Ritual might have been the first song I heard. And that, I still love that. That's kind of like a driving song for me, like late at night driving. Like, that song, actually a lot of music is good for driving late at night. When I listen to it, I think the most. What would you guys consider is probably one of the more popular songs, and even maybe a song that you guys enjoy? With yeah.
Well, our most popular is for sure Kasvetli Kutlama.
Okay,
and that's like the She Passed Away classic. Everybody knows this song.
Yeah.
It means somber celebration.
Oh, really?
Dark celebration. And it's actually, I think it's the oldest song as well that Volkan wrote.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Do you know with it, like, do you know the inspiration behind that song by chance? Like, what does the title mean?
The title is Somber Celebration,
right.
Dark Celebration.
So what is that? I mean, do you mind, like, what that touches on, or the influences for that?
Well, I could translate the lyrics, but that would be pointless. Well, it just embraces feelings of falling down, losing stuff, but maybe not being so bothered about it, and kind of enjoying that loss.
Yeah, all right.
Enjoying that, enjoying a bad feeling, maybe.
Sure, okay, I could get that.
Taking pleasure out of the desperate situation.
So I travel a lot to see bands like you guys, and I travel to different clubs and venues. I see a lot of shows. What are like some clubs and some venues that have either been like really crazy, or maybe a club and venue, like I think, like, you know, just ones that have like really blown you away, for lack of a better, I'm sorry, I was trying to think of the word, but what kind of venues have been like some of the craziest ones you played at, and what are some of the ones that you kind of don't forget, you know?
Okay, there's a festival called Kalabalık Festival, which is like in the middle of country in Sweden.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the countryside. And it takes place in this fairground from the 60s, which was shut down later in the 80s, I think. And it has all the decoration standing still.
Oh, really? No kidding.
Yeah.
That actually is very cool. That's
where
I want to go.
It's kind of trippy. It's kind of takes you in a different time, and it's a really interesting setting. I was really blown with this setting, especially this being in the middle of nowhere in the countryside of Sweden.
What's that festival called again?
Kalabalık.
Kalabalık? Okay.
Kalabalık. It's in Alvesta in
I'll look
Sweden.
it up, because that's something I have to
And the
again.
concept of the festival is also really interesting because it's only synth music.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah.
When's that festival?
It takes place in August,
Okay.
which is supposed to be the warmest time of the year, but
Yeah,
it's still really cold at night.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
take a jacket.
That's awesome. Yeah, totally. What do you expect getting out of the show, or what do you have to give to others, you know, as an audience and as a performer, and back and forth?
Well, for every gig, as a principle, we like to connect with the audience, not like conversation-wise, but with the heart.
Okay,
And
right.
we kind of like to see people losing their selves with our music. So I'm expecting that we will get a good connection with the audience again tonight. And I'm pretty sure actually, because every time we play Mexico, it's fine. We get really along with the
You get
audience.
that interaction.
For a change, now we will have audience from the States, at least a few. So I think that those are the lucky guys, as we will not be able to go to the States for a while now. Yeah. So they're catching a show that otherwise they wouldn't be able to see.
What do you do when you're not writing music, or do you have other careers, or?
Myself, I have nothing else. It's only music. I work as a music producer for a long time.
Okay.
I produced many bands, mostly indie, electronic, indie alternative bands.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, recording, production, and I'm still doing it, remixing. I did some commercial work as well for
really?
movies,
Okay.
television, whatever. Volkan, in theory, his profession is music teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
That's
he
awesome.
doesn't do it.
He doesn't do it as much. That's awesome, actually. I think it'd be great to have him as a music teacher. That's rad. Some of the basics. So, I talked to you earlier. What are bands? What are the more modern bands right now that you like?
New bands.
Yeah.
Fabrika Records bands, for sure. Lebanon,
Okay.
Hanover, and Cellophane.
I'm not as familiar with that label. I need to look at them more often. I think you mentioned Zeno in Oakland, or you like.
American. Okay. Yeah, Zeno, of course. Marshall Cantrell, the same guy.
Yeah,
of course.
I love him a lot too. You did mention like Softkill,
Softkill,
which is
yeah,
kinda
for
have a soft
sure.
spot
Yeah,
for
yeah.
lately. There's a lot of good acts in that scene.
I'm really bad with the names, man. I gotta just look on my Spotify to remember the names.
I'm the same way, so it's totally fine. What classic bands influenced you? growing up?
Duff,
Okay.
a little bit of Duff. The Cure, little bit of that.
Okay. Totally.
Maybe Clan of Zymox.
Like some mix, yeah, sure, definitely.
But all the 80s cold wave
All the 80s stuff, yeah,
bands,
Sure.
like bands from Belgium, like unpopular bands.
I was thinking
like-
of you. You kind of have like that. You have a lot of that classic Gary Newman kind of look to you right now, which is awesome. I totally respect that. I've been watching a lot of Gary Newman lately videos. I think you guys also mentioned that you have a lot of influences from like 80s sci-fi and 80s horror. What kind of Turkish films from that scene, like the 80s horror and the sci-fi, are there any of those that really influenced you, ones that you could recommend that I might check out, because I love horror?
Yeah. Surely there is, but again, with the names, man, I can't remember the
No,
names.
it's fine. I think,
But like, Volkan is the guy to speak about this actually.
Speak a
He's
lot, yeah, totally.
like, because he's totally crazy about all the B movies, Z movies, like
Yeah.
cheap European behind the
I'd love to pick that
under the
guy's
counter
brain.
movies, like
If only
you
I
know.
knew more Turkish, I could pick that guy's brain. Yeah, I think I saw an interview with him where he like listed a bunch of those. I have to go back and check them
Yeah.
out. I guess one of the last questions I have for you, we were kind of talking about this earlier. I don't know a lot about Turkey, but like, what do you like Turkish food-wise? Like, what do you recommend? What is good? Like, especially if I was to go to Turkey, say.
Well, you know, kebab is like the usual popular thing
Yeah,
as a Turkish cuisine. But Turkish cuisine is extremely wide because it has influences from Middle East, from the Balkans, from everywhere basically, because it's like a transition country between continents and cultures, you know. So it's very wide. But what I love most and which is unique are the olive oil dishes.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
They are vegetable dishes cooked
Okay.
with olive oil.
Okay.
So they are really healthy, really easy to digest, really good for you. But they are not very common, not very known, like kebab, for example, because it's not fast food.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, they are really easy to cook as well. So if it would be fantastic if you can like look into these and
Is that the kind of thing that I could go online and maybe
go online and yeah,
That'd be
because
awesome,
you
right?
can't really find them in any restaurant. They are not like on the menus on a fancy restaurant or something. It's kind of underestimated.